Hello, everybody, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Autopsy of a Writer. I'm your host, Brad Mitzelfeld. Some of you may know me on Twitter as That Secret Writer. So, this inaugural episode, we're not going to really talk about a specific topic so much as I'm going to introduce what the channel is going to be about, what we're going to be doing on the channel, what we're going to cover, a little information about myself, what you should expect in the future. So first off, this channel is primarily going to be about writing. We will cover things such as movies, reading, specific books, discussing current trends in comics even, but primarily we'll be focused on writing, the specifics of what writing is, how to write, what you need to know to write, how you should even get started writing, various different topics like that. Our first actual episode will be what is writing. We will discuss what writing specifically is, what it entails, in the most general sense of the form of the word, because there's a lot of different kind of writing out there, ranging from writing fiction to writing nonfiction and the various different types of writing in those. We're primarily going to focus on fiction writing. Nonfiction writing is not something that I do too much of. More of a tell stories type of writer. I don't too much enjoy writing the nonfiction stuff. It gets kind of monotonous and boring. I did too much of it in college. I don't need to do any of it now. A little bit about myself. I have a master's degree in architecture, but I studied writing as a minor during college, along with chemistry. But writing, I started college as a chemistry major. That's predominantly why I have that one. I took a whole bunch of writing classes during college, primarily to fill credits, but also because I have an interest in writing and I enjoy writing. And it was actually during college that I wrote a couple of short stories that would later go on to shape my first series of novels, which I'm still in the process of writing. I've written two. Both of them are available on YouTube. Wow, on Amazon. You can find them. I've put links down at the bottom here on the videos so that you can find them too. The first book is called In the Shadow of War, and the second book is called In the Depths of Winter. They're both part of the Dark Mage Chronicles, which is my ongoing series that I am in the process of writing. About, a little over a third of the way through book 3. Just finished chapter 8 right before I recorded this, actually. Progress is good, right? Specifically speaking, I was picked up for my first book, In the Shadow of War, by a small publisher called Remwalker Publishing Group. They ran with my book, and right after they launched my book on Kindle only format, they were preparing to launch it on the actual physical copy. They announced that they were closing. Various different reasons, which I'm not going to get into just because I don't want to smear anybody and there's not really any reason to talk about it. But suffice to say, they closed their doors right after launching my book, and so I went back to self-publishing my books. I created my own imprint, if you will. It's nothing special. It's just something that I use, Hawksparrow Press. And now I publish my current series through that imprint. I'm also in the process of writing a cyberpunk novel. Have a huge love for cyberpunk, always have, predominantly ever since I saw Blade Runner way back in the day. That movie was it's a phenomenal movie. If you haven't seen it, what's wrong with you? Seriously, go see that movie. I mean, you can't go see it in the theaters, obviously, but you can rent it or watch it on Amazon Prime or something, but watch it. That movie is based on the book Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. Phenomenal. I've never read the book. The movie, though, it's just too good not to see. But anyway, kind of following in that vein, in the Judge Dredd vein, I started writing a cyberpunk novel, which I intend to shop around once I finish it instead of self-publishing it, and see if I can get somebody to pick it up. It will be probably a one-off novel. I don't really have anything planned for anything to come after it, but I suppose I could probably figure something out should a publisher want me to. It's not a big deal if they do. Other than that, I have a short story coming out in the upcoming anthology by Manison Press. The anthology is called Little Girl Lost. My story is called The Girl Who Couldn't Shed Tears. That's due supposedly to come out in October, I believe, unless they've changed it. Not entirely sure. It's going to be awesome, though. There's a lot of really good writers in that, including Piers Anthony, who is, some of you probably know, is probably one of the most prolific fantasy writers active today. He wrote the Xanth novels, specifically one of the first novels that I ever read in the fantasy genre that I really loved, and that was A Spell for Chameleon. That novel was part of why I started writing myself. Read it a long time ago. There's a lot that went into why I started writing, including Star Wars and things like that. I started off in writing, as a little kid, doing the stuff at school, but once I hit like junior high, I was reading Star Wars novels and decided I was going to write fan fiction, and then it just kind of went from there until now I'm at the point where I'm writing novels. But that's basically the gist of who I am, what qualifies me, I guess, to run this channel and talk about this. I mean, assuming you agree that it qualifies me. I think it does. So again, what this channel is going to be about, we're going to talk about writing, what writing entails. We're going to talk about books. We're going to talk about movies. Things that can help you in your journey to becoming a writer or your search for good material to read or watch. We will probably do some reviews and things on this channel every once in a while just to give people a good idea of what's going on out there. And I'm hoping at some point down the line we'll be able to get other people on the channel. But we'll kind of see. My internet's not the best internet, so it takes me a long time to upload things, and I'm just not even sure how well it will go having anybody else on the channel with me or not. So we'll see what happens down the road, but like I said, next episode will be what is writing, and then I'm going to follow that up with Star Wars analogy for writing. There's a lot we can learn from Star Wars, and I'm sure it's going to cause some controversy, but that's okay because I like controversy. I am not a total Star Wars hater. I'm not the biggest fan of the newer movies, with the exception of Rogue One, which was phenomenal. But I still like them. So I'm not going to be sitting here bashing everybody constantly. I'll just talk about, in general, what's wrong, what's good, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, what they can do better. But I'm going to focus primarily on the whole of Star Wars movies. So I'm going to talk about, it's going to be kind of the good, the bad, the ugly. But we'll see what happens when we get there, and I'm looking forward to having these chats with you guys on a weekly basis, hopefully a weekly basis. I intend to hopefully put up an entry once a week, provided I have time. With the baby coming in October, I may not have time, so bear with me. Thanks, guys, for joining in on this inaugural episode, and I hope to see you next time.